Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today, and we are starting here with a bit of a surprise announcement from Naughty Dog regarding new content coming to The Last of Us Part 2. This is over on the PlayStation blog, where they outline all of the details and specs for the PC version of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, which is coming next month. But at the bottom here, they say there's new no return content. They say additionally, coming at launch for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on PC will be a host of new content for our fan favorite no return mode. 2 new characters are being introduced for the mode, The Last of Us Part 1's Bill and Marlene. Like with each no return combatant, these characters offer their own unique playstyles and should offer both new and returning fans an exciting new opportunity to test their mettle. Bill is a smuggler playstyle who can access a custom pump shotgun from dead drops and receives double rewards from drops as well. He's stronger against melee attacks but can't dodge. Marlene, meanwhile, features a risk-taker playstyle that includes a custom assault rifle, all-or-nothing gambits, can reroute her no-return path once per run, and more. Now, on top of that, they're also announcing 4 new maps for the no-return mode in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered: Overlook, Nest, Streets, and School. Now, they say here, speaking of PlayStation 5 players, fear not, this new no-return content, as well as the accompanying new trophies and additional bug fixes, will be available day and date with the PC launch via a free download, patch 2.0. Now, on top of that, they say, last but not least, Part 2 Remastered on PC will support PlayStation Overlay and PSN trophies with an optional account for PlayStation Network login. While not required, those on PC who do sign into their account for PlayStation Network will also gain access to 50 in-game points to activate bonus features, as well as a new skin for Ellie featuring Jordan A. Munn's jacket from our new game in development for PS5, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. And they show an image of what this jacket will look like on Ellie. And they say PS5 players will also be able to unlock the Jordan's jacket skin, as it will be included in the 2.0 patch and unlockable via in-game bonus points. So there you go. Naughty Dog is, I guess, going above and beyond here when it comes to the PC version of The Last of Us Part 2. And PS5 players are going to be getting all of this additional content as well. So pretty cool. The final thing I want to say before moving on is it's interesting to see more content being added to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered's no return mode, because when we see these maps announced, we just saw the limited edition controller announced, and we're seeing new characters added. You just can't help but wonder if all of this content was meant to be part of the Last of Us multiplayer game that ended up getting canceled. Moving on to the next topic, we're briefly touching upon God of War's 20th anniversary once again. Just want to let everybody know that the God of War Ragnarok update celebrating the 20th anniversary is out, and Sony did publish a new trailer for this. And yeah, the comments are basically mostly people expressing frustration, feeling like what Santa Monica is doing here is underwhelming for the 20th anniversary, and they should have done more, which is understandable. It is unfortunate that the rumors apparently of the remaster collection were just not true. There are still some people, from what I gather, holding out hope that this is going to happen. But yeah, I do want to just let everybody know that this update is out now. So if you're interested in checking it out, you can reinstall Ragnarok and enjoy it. But we're going to move on to the next topic here, which talks about Assassin's Creed Shadows. And we are basically getting confirmation from a developer that worked on Assassin's Creed Shadows that they are going to continue to take advantage of the PS5 Pro, and we will likely end up seeing PSSR implementation sometime in the not too distant future. Now, the reason why this is significant is because if you watched Digital Foundry's analysis of the PS5 Pro version of Assassin's Creed Shadows, it seems to be the most significant PS5 Pro upgrade we've seen thus far. They're going as far as calling it like a generational difference. That's how significant it is, and people are very impressed by it, but it does not utilize PSSR yet. And so somebody says this is looking great. Is there a particular reason why you guys ended up not implementing PSSR? And Nicholas Lopez, who again is part of the development team over at Ubisoft working on Assassin's Creed Shadows, says, "I would stay tuned." So clearly teasing PSSR implementation coming in the future, which I would say is a pretty big deal when you consider just how significant of a difference we're already seeing with the PS5 Pro version of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Apparently, it's just going to get even better. But moving on to the next topic here, we have a developer that seems to be very upset about what they're calling illegal use of its property as an AI ripoff of an Xbox game appears on the PlayStation Store. This is being reported by Push Square. And it says, for a few brief minutes earlier today, one PS5 trophy hunter thought they had uncovered evidence of a Microsoft Flight Simulator port. A new trophy list was picked up by PSN profiles for Flight Simulator 2025, tricking those interested in the heavily rumored Xbox port into believing the PS5 version is right around the corner. It may still be, as reliable speculation points to the likes of Microsoft Simulator, Halo, and Gears of War all making their way across the PS5 later this year. However, what this trophy list turned out to be was yet another example of the copycat AI Eslop that has flooded the PlayStation Store over the past few years. Flight Simulator 2025 has a PS Store wishlist page that lists the developer as Grizzly Games Limited, but this does not actually appear to be true. In a statement to Eurogamer, Paul Schnapp, who is one of two developers at Grizzly Games, said its name and logo were being used illegally as part of the listing. Furthermore, they seem to incorporate the absolute opposite of our values and what we stand for and what we're trying to give to the gaming community. Unfortunately, our legal resources are limited as a two-person indie team, but honestly, I'd love to see this kind of stuff being stopped, especially since it's not only happening to us, but lots of indie devs that just lack the legal power. As such, it appears Flight Simulator 2025 has been uploaded to the PS Store by a firm using a different company's name. Eurogamer did some digging prior to receiving this statement and found a grizzlygames.com website full of mobile phone games made using AI with links to the Google Play Store that don't lead anywhere. It's possible the listing has come from there rather than the legitimate Grizzly Games, which made Thronefall for Nintendo Switch and PC. So yeah, this is something that's becoming I would say, significant issue on the PlayStation Store, and Sony seems to be doing pretty much nothing about it. It is getting embarrassing at this point where the amount of just absolute garbage that is allowed to flood the PlayStation Store. We are seeing straight up scammers just come out here and completely rip off games, copying other people's work and just putting it out there, hoping that people will be tricked into buying it. The people who are putting this garbage together, just straight up calling it Flight Simulator 2025, trying to trick people into thinking that this is in fact Microsoft's Flight Simulator 2025, capitalizing on the fact that Microsoft is porting some of their games to PlayStation 5. You just have to wonder what it's going to take for Sony to actually get involved here and do something about this, because I feel like I'm seeing more and more PlayStation players kind of express their frustration, and now we're hearing developers expressing their frustration. I think Sony has to get a hold of this. But moving on to the next topic here, we're talking about the PlayStation Portal once again. This is being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. They say PS Plus Premium members can directly stream nearly all of March 2025's PS Plus games on the PlayStation Portal, taking the handheld yet another step closer to being a standalone portable console rather than a remote player. Only 2 games in the lineup require players to turn on their PS5, but all major games can be streamed directly. As we frequently reported over the last month, Sony has been quietly updating PS Portal's cloud streaming beta with more and more games, including beloved classics. At this point, the handheld is an easy recommendation as a standalone device if players don't mind purchasing a PS Plus Premium membership. Cloud streaming is not available with the extra tier as part of the deluxe tier offered in some regions. So yeah, this is just something I wanted to briefly point out once again, because it seems like it's becoming a recurring news topic where the PlayStation Portal is just getting more and more support when it comes to PlayStation Plus, and essentially, as they point out here, being able to buy a PlayStation Portal and use it as more of a dedicated streaming handheld rather than it being fully tethered to the PS5. Now, I do still think that the Portal is still positioned more so as a companion product rather than a standalone, but there's no denying that, Sony's putting the work in here and making, buying this as a standalone product a viable option. But the final topic here talks about new PlayStation tech that could be a game changer for the controller. Being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle once again, it says Sony Interactive Entertainment has filed a patent for a new PlayStation controller charging technology, which could drastically change how players charge their accessories. The patent is for solar-powered controllers that would feature photovoltaic elements, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, eliminating the need for an external power source. As spotted by Tech for Gamers, the patent was published earlier this month, but Sony has been working on the tech since at least 2023. The idea here is for the controllers to self-charge when exposed to light, so players won't need a charger or external power source in the absence of replaceable batteries. Game controllers that use batteries require battery replacement or charging when the battery runs out, the filing reads. Therefore, if there is no replaceable battery or no charger or external power source to charge the battery, the power for the game controller cannot be secured and the game controller cannot be operated. The solution, a controller that charges itself whenever there's ample light. Sony says that the controller would be designed in such a way that players' hands and movements wouldn't be in the way of these elements, so technically the controllers could continue charging even as players are using them. So we do need to highlight that this is just a patent, and Sony files patents all the time that end up going nowhere, but this is, I would say, a particularly interesting one. We do know that the Dualsense 2 is likely to be a major selling point of the PlayStation 6, and when it comes to the idea of the Dualsense 2, it is the new features that separate it from the Dualsense 1 that are going to matter. And having something like this, I don't know if it would be like a major selling point per se, but it definitely would be something that is more convenient. The idea that you have a solar powered or solar operated, I guess you could say, controller that can just be charged that way. I think some people could get behind that, but we'll have to see if this ends up making its way into the PlayStation 6 with the DualSense 2. That's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.